You know what the problem is? The problem is that most of us are waiting. We're waiting for the right moment. We're waiting for the perfect conditions. We're waiting for someone to give us permission. And while we're waiting, time keeps moving forward. Days turn into weeks turn into months, and before we know it, another year has passed, and we're sitting in the exact same place we were 12 months ago, wondering where all the time went. But here's the thing. Time doesn't wait for anyone. And the people who understand this, the people who actually make things happen in their lives, they're not smarter than you. They're not more talented than you. They don't have some secret advantage that you don't have. What they have is clarity. They have purpose. And most importantly, they have the courage to act before they feel ready. So let me ask you something. When this year ends and a new one begins, do you want to look back with regret? Do you want to say to yourself, I wish I had done that, or I should have tried? Or do you want to look back and say, I gave it everything I had, I showed up, I did the work? Because that choice, that decision, it's not made on January 1st. It's made right now, in this moment, in the decisions you make today. And that's why I want to talk to you about 5 things you need to do before this year ends. Not because there's anything magical about the date on the calendar. Not because a new year automatically brings new opportunities. But because you need to stop waiting. You need to stop preparing to start and actually start. And these 5 things, if you do them honestly and completely, will change the way you show up for yourself and for the people around you. The first thing you need to do is get clear on your why. Not what you want to do, not how you're going to do it, but why. Why does it matter? Why do you care? Because here's what happens to most people. They set goals. They make plans. They have ambitions. But when things get hard, when obstacles show up, when the initial excitement wears off, they quit. And they quit because they never connected to the real reason they started in the first place. Think about it like this. If I told you to run a marathon and offered you $100, you might try it. But when you hit mile 15 and your legs are burning and your lungs are screaming and everything in you wants to stop, that $100 isn't going to be enough. But if I told you that someone you love, someone who matters more to you than anything in this world, is waiting for you at the finish line and they need you to make it, you'd find a way. You'd keep going. Because your why is strong enough to carry you through the how. So before this year ends, you need to sit down and ask yourself some hard questions. Why do you want to build that business? Why do you want to get healthy? Why do you want to learn that skill? And don't give me surface answers. Don't tell me it's because you want to make money or because you think you should. Go deeper. What would it mean for your life? How would it change the way you see yourself? Who would you become in the process? Because when you know your why, when it's crystal clear and it comes from a place that's real and honest, everything else becomes easier. Not easy, but easier. The late nights become worth it. The sacrifices make sense. The fear doesn't go away, but it stops controlling you. And that's when you stop being someone who talks about doing things and become someone who actually does them. The second thing you need to do is audit your environment. And I'm not just talking about your physical space, although that matters too. I'm talking about everything around you. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the conversations you have, the habits you've built, all of it. Because here's a truth that's hard to accept, but impossible to ignore. You are not separate from your environment. You are shaped by it. You are influenced by it. And if your environment doesn't support the person you want to become, you're fighting an uphill battle every single day. Let me tell you something about human behavior. We like to think we're completely in control. We like to believe that we make independent choices based purely on logic and willpower. But the research is clear. The people around us, the information we expose ourselves to, the systems we participate in, they all affect our decisions in ways we don't even realize. If everyone around you is negative, you'll start to see the world through a negative lens. If everyone around you is stuck, you'll find reasons to stay stuck too. Not because you're weak, but because that's how human beings work. So take an honest look at your life. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they people who challenge you to grow? Are they people who celebrate your wins and support you through your losses? Or are they people who make you feel small? Are they people who judge your ambitions? Are they people who would rather keep you comfortable than see you succeed? And I know this is hard. Some of these people might be family. Some might be friends you've had for years. And I'm not saying you need to cut everyone out of your life who doesn't perfectly align with your goals. But I am saying you need to be intentional. You need to protect your energy. You need to create space for people who lift you up. And you need to limit exposure to people who bring you down. Because you cannot become the best version of yourself while surrounding yourself with the worst versions of everyone else. The same goes for what you put into your mind. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? If you spend 2 hours every day scrolling through content that makes you angry or jealous or insecure, and then you wonder why you feel anxious all the time, you're missing the connection. Your mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. And if you keep planting seeds of negativity and comparison and fear, that's what's going to bloom in your life. So before this year ends, clean it up. Unfollow the accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Stop watching the shows that glorify drama and dysfunction. Start reading books that expand your thinking. Start listening to conversations that inspire you. Start spending time with people who remind you what's possible. Because your environment isn't just where you live, it's what creates the conditions for who you become. The third thing you need to do is forgive yourself. And this is the one that most people skip. This is the one that most people avoid because it's uncomfortable and it requires us to be honest about our mistakes. But if you don't do this, if you don't let go of what you're carrying, you'll never have the freedom to move forward. Here's what I see all the time. People who are so focused on what they did wrong that they can't see what they could do right. People who are so stuck in the past that they're not present for the opportunities in front of them. People who are so busy punishing themselves for not being perfect that they never give themselves permission to start again. And look, I get it. Maybe you messed up this year. Maybe you hurt someone you care about. Maybe you broke a promise to yourself. Maybe you didn't show up the way you wanted to. Maybe you quit when you should have kept going. Maybe you stayed when you should have left. Whatever it is, I'm not going to tell you it doesn't matter. It does matter. But what matters more is what you do now. Because here's the truth about guilt and shame and regret. They don't make you better. They don't motivate you to change. What they do is paralyze you. They keep you stuck in a loop of self-criticism that convinces you you're not capable of doing better. And that's a lie. You are capable. But you can't prove it to yourself if you're too busy beating yourself up for the person you used to be. So sit down and make a list. Write down everything you're holding on to, every mistake, every failure, every moment you wish you could take back. And then look at that list and ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How did this teach me? How can I use this to become better? Because that's what growth is. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to learn from imperfection. And then, after you've done that, you need to let it go. Not because it wasn't real, not because it didn't hurt, but because carrying it doesn't help you. It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't make you a better person. All it does is weigh you down. And you can't run toward your future if you're dragging your past behind you. Forgiveness isn't about saying what you did was okay. It's about saying, I'm not going to let this define me anymore. I'm not going to let this control my life anymore. I'm choosing to move forward. And when you make that choice, when you really commit to it, everything shifts. Because you stop being a victim of your circumstances and you start being the author of your story. The fourth thing you need to do is commit to one thing. Just one. Not 10 things, not 5 things. One thing that you're going to pour yourself into. One thing that you're going to pursue with everything you have. Because this is where most people fail. Not because they don't work hard, but because they work hard on too many things at once and none of them go anywhere. We live in a world that celebrates multitasking, that celebrates being busy, that makes us feel like if we're not doing 10 things at once, we're not productive. But the most successful people, the people who actually achieve something meaningful, they don't multitask. They focus. They pick one thing and they go all in. And they stay with it long enough to see it through. Think about it. If you want to build a business, you need to focus on building that business. If you want to write a book, you need to focus on writing that book. If you want to get in shape, you need to focus on your health. You can't do all three at the same time and expect to make real progress. Because attention is a finite resource. Energy is a finite resource. And when you spread yourself too thin, you don't do anything well. So before this year ends, make a choice. What's the one thing that matters most? What's the one thing that, if you accomplished it, would make everything else easier or irrelevant? And then commit to it. Not halfway, not sort of, but fully. Give it your mornings, give it your best energy, give it your most focused time, and let everything else wait. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but what about all the other things I want to do? What about all the other goals I have? And here's my answer. They'll still be there. But if you don't focus, if you keep trying to do everything, none of them will happen. It's like trying to boil 10 pots of water with one flame. You can move the flame around all day long, but you'll never get any of them to boil. But if you put that flame under one pot and leave it there, eventually that water boils. And then you can move on to the next one. So choose your one thing and then protect it. Say no to distractions. Say no to opportunities that don't serve it. Say no to people who don't respect it. Because when you're focused, when you're committed, when you're consistent, that's when progress happens. That's when you build momentum. That's when you start to see real change. And here's the beautiful part. When you commit to one thing and you actually follow through, it changes the way you see yourself. It builds confidence. It proves to you that you're capable of doing hard things. And that confidence, that proof, it carries over into every other area of your life. You become someone who finishes what they start. You become someone who keeps promises to themselves. And that's worth more than achieving 100 half-done goals. The fifth thing you need to do is take care of your body. And I know this seems basic. I know this seems like something everyone knows. But knowing and doing are two different things. And the truth is, most people are not taking care of themselves. Most people are running on empty. Most people are ignoring the signals their body is sending until it's too late. Here's the reality. You cannot show up for your life if you're exhausted. You cannot pursue your dreams if you don't have energy. You cannot be there for the people you love if you're burnt out. Your body is not separate from your goals. It's not something you deal with later. It's the foundation for everything else. And if that foundation is weak, everything you build on top of it will eventually collapse. So what does taking care of your body actually mean? It means sleep. Real sleep. Not 5 hours while you scroll on your phone. Not staying up until 2 a.m. because you're trying to squeeze in one more episode or finish one more task. 8 hours. Consistent. Every night. Because when you're sleep deprived, everything is harder. Your focus suffers, your mood suffers, your decision-making suffers. And you can't perform at your best when you're running on fumes. It means movement. Your body was designed to move. Not to sit in a chair for 12 hours a day. Not to lie on a couch every evening. Get up, walk, run, lift, stretch, dance. Do something that gets your heart rate up and reminds your body what it's capable of. And you don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy equipment. You just need to move. It means food. Real food. Not processed garbage that comes in a bag or a box. Not fast food because it's convenient. Not skipping meals because you're too busy. Your body needs fuel. And the quality of that fuel matters. You wouldn't put cheap gas in a Ferrari and expect it to run well. So why would you put cheap food in your body and expect to feel great? And it means rest. Not just physical rest, but mental rest. Time when you're not working. Time when you're not consuming. Time when you're not doing anything productive. Because productivity without rest is not sustainable. It's a recipe for burnout. And burnout doesn't make you a hero, it makes you useless. So before this year ends, make a commitment to yourself. A commitment to honor your body. A commitment to treat it with respect. Because your body is the only one you get. And if you don't take care of it now, if you keep pushing it and ignoring it and expecting it to just keep going, there will come a day when it stops cooperating. And on that day, all your plans and goals and dreams won't matter because you won't have the energy or health to pursue them. Now, let me bring all of this together. Because these 5 things, they're not separate. They're connected. They build on each other. When you get clear on your why, you know where you're going. When you audit your environment, you remove the obstacles. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself to move forward. When you commit to one thing, you build momentum. And when you take care of your body, you have the energy to sustain it all. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Knowing this information doesn't change anything. You can read this, you can nod your head, you can agree with every single word, and then you can go back to your life and do nothing. And that's what most people do. They consume information, they feel inspired for a moment, and then they go right back to their old patterns. So the real question is, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to treat this like every other motivational message you've heard and forget about it by tomorrow? Or are you going to actually do something? Because action is what separates the people who change their lives from the people who just talk about changing their lives. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Change is never easy. Growth is never comfortable. There will be days when you don't feel like doing the work. There will be moments when you want to quit. There will be times when you question whether any of this is worth it. And in those moments, you need to remember your why. You need to remember why you started. You need to remember that the discomfort you feel today is building the strength you'll need tomorrow. Because the truth is, most people never reach their potential. Not because they're not capable, but because they give up too soon. They quit right before the breakthrough. They stop right before things start to work. And they spend the rest of their lives wondering what could have been if they had just kept going a little bit longer. Don't be that person. Don't let this year end with you in the same place you started. Don't let another year pass where you had the chance to change and you didn't take it. Because time is the one resource you can't get back. You can make more money, you can meet new people, you can learn new skills, but you can't get back the time you waste. So here's what I want you to do. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, right now. Take out a piece of paper, write down these 5 things, get clear on your why, audit your environment, forgive yourself, commit to one thing, take care of your body, and then under each one, write down one specific action you're going to take in the next 24 hours. Not a big action, not something overwhelming, just one small step, because big changes don't happen all at once. They happen one small decision at a time, one choice, one action, one day. And when you stack enough of those days together, when you keep showing up, even when it's hard, that's when transformation happens. And let me tell you something about the people who actually make it, the people who build successful businesses, the people who create meaningful relationships, the people who become the best version of themselves. They're not special, they're not lucky, they're just consistent. They show up when they don't feel like it, they do the work when nobody's watching, they keep going when everyone else quits. And that consistency, over time, creates results that look like magic to everyone else. But it's not magic. It's choice. It's discipline. It's commitment. And it's available to you right now. Not because you're perfect, not because you have it all figured out, but because you're willing to start, you're willing to try, you're willing to fail and get back up and try again. So let's talk about what happens when you actually do these things. When you get clear on your why, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop saying yes to opportunities that take you away from your purpose. You become focused. You become intentional. And people notice. They notice that you're different. They notice that you're serious. And that changes the way they interact with you. When you audit your environment, you create space for growth. You remove the negative influences that have been holding you back. You surround yourself with people who push you to be better. And slowly, almost without noticing, you start to become the person they see in you. You start to rise to the level of your environment instead of being dragged down by it. When you forgive yourself, you release the weight you've been carrying. You stop defining yourself by your worst moments. You give yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes, to learn and grow. And that freedom, that lightness, it allows you to take risks again. It allows you to try again. It allows you to believe in yourself again. When you commit to one thing, you build momentum. You make progress. You see results. And those results fuel your motivation. They prove to you that you're capable. They show you that your effort matters. And that proof, that evidence, it's more powerful than any motivational speech. Because it comes from you. Because you earned it. And when you take care of your body, you have the energy to sustain everything else. You wake up feeling strong. You show up feeling present. You have the clarity to make good decisions and the stamina to follow through. Your body stops being an obstacle and becomes an asset. But here's where it gets interesting. When you do these 5 things, something unexpected happens. You start to inspire other people. Not by preaching, not by telling them what to do, but by being an example, by showing them what's possible, by proving that change is real. And that's when you realize something profound. This was never just about you. It was never just about your goals or your success or your happiness. It was about becoming the kind of person who makes other people believe they can change too. It was about creating a ripple effect that goes beyond your own life and touches the lives of everyone around you. Think about the people who have inspired you, the people who made you believe in yourself, the people who showed you what was possible. They didn't do it by being perfect. They did it by being real, by being honest, by showing up and doing the work even when it was hard. And now you have the opportunity to be that person for someone else. So when I say you need to do these 5 things before this year ends, I'm not just talking about personal development. I'm not just talking about self-improvement. I'm talking about responsibility. The responsibility you have to yourself, the responsibility you have to the people who believe in you, the responsibility you have to the person you could become, because here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. You're capable of so much more than you're currently doing. Not in a way that's meant to make you feel bad, but in a way that should make you feel excited. You have gifts that you haven't used yet. You have potential that you haven't tapped into. You have impact that you haven't made. And the only thing standing between who you are now and who you could be is your willingness to do the work. So let me ask you again, what are you waiting for? What permission are you looking for? What sign do you need? Because I'm telling you right now, this is it. This is your sign. This is your moment. Not because there's anything special about today, but because you're reading this. Because you're still here. Because some part of you knows that you're meant for more. And that knowing, that feeling, it's not going to go away. You can ignore it. You can distract yourself from it. You can convince yourself that you'll deal with it later. But it will keep coming back. It will keep whispering to you. It will keep reminding you that you're living below your potential. And you can spend your whole life running from that voice, or you can turn around and face it. So face it. Get clear on your why. Audit your environment. Forgive yourself. Commit to one thing. Take care of your body. Do these 5 things before this year ends. Not for me. Not for anyone else. For you. Because you deserve to see what you're capable of. You deserve to live a life that excites you. You deserve to become the person you know you can be. And when you do, when you really commit to this, you'll look back on this moment as the moment everything changed. Not because anything external changed, but because you changed. Because you decided to stop waiting and start doing. Because you decided to stop talking and start acting. Because you decided that this year, this month, this week, this day was going to be different. That's what I want for you. Not success by someone else's definition. Not a life that looks good on paper but feels empty. But real fulfillment, real growth, real transformation. The kind that comes from living in alignment with your values. The kind that comes from pursuing what matters to you. The kind that comes from becoming someone you're proud to be. So make the choice. Take the step. Start today, because the life you want is waiting, but it's not going to come to you. You have to go to it. You have to build it. You have to earn it. And the time to start is now. Not when you're ready, not when it's convenient, but now. While you still have time, while you still have the chance, while you still have the opportunity to make this year count. You can do this. I know you can, not because I know you personally, but because I know what human beings are capable of when they decide to stop making excuses and start making progress. And you're a human being, which means you have the same capacity for growth and change and transformation as anyone else who has ever done something meaningful with their life. So go do it. Get clear on your why. Audit your environment. Forgive yourself. Commit to one thing. Take care of your body. Do these 5 things, and then watch what happens. Watch how your life begins to shift. Watch how opportunities begin to appear. Watch how you begin to show up differently. Watch how you begin to become the person you've always known you could be. This is your time. This is your moment, and it's not going to last forever. So don't waste it. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt convince you that you're not ready. Don't let comfort keep you stuck. Take the leap, do the work, make the change. Because one day, you're going to look back on your life, and you're going to ask yourself, if you made it count, if you gave it everything, if you became who you were meant to be, and I want you to be able to say yes. I want you to be able to say that you didn't hold back, that you didn't play small, that you showed up and gave it everything you had. So start now, right now, because the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is today. And if you don't start today, tomorrow you'll be wishing you had started yesterday. So break that cycle. Make today the day. Make this the moment. And then keep going, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one action at a time. You've got this. Now go prove it.